Dashboard reports are extremely useful to have a holistic overview of your money for the income and the expenses. So I built several built-in dashboards, reports or metrics that you can customize, you can remove if you don't like, and you can add, of course, your own. So let's walk through the dashboard and see each one of them and what they mean. So the first one here at the top left, total income, is the total income without specifying any category. So how much you made money in general for the current month, current year, last year. Same thing for the expenses. Those are straightforward values. And then moving on for further analytics, if you want to know, like, okay, for the income, how much you generated from online teaching, for instance, or from the salary. So as you can see here, it will break down the income per category, and it will give you a nice visualization on how much percentage for this category versus the second. And of course, you can, the same thing, filter by last month, current year, last year. Okay, so straightforward. And of course, the same thing for expenses. If you want to know, okay, in general, this is how much I, spent money. I want to know where this money went through and which category. So in groceries, I spent, around 362. In shopping, in groceries, 275, and so on and so forth. Now, these are like high level information. Now, furthermore, to the trends, you can know over the past how much you generated or how much you spent. So in the total income, for instance, for the last 12 months, you can see that, okay, in November last year, I made 3,000, for example. In December, I made 2,050, but this month, the beginning of the year, is 4,150. So it's a nice visualization. And of course, you can customize it current year, last year. So the more data you have, the more useful information you can extract. The same thing for expenses. It's the same matter. The next one, if you want to dig deeper, okay, now I know how much I make and the trend for the income, but I want to know at a specific category. Let's say I want to know for online teaching, how much I generated for the last, not the total income, just the online teaching, how much I generate for the last 12 months. So you can see that it just filter out by that category. Same thing if you want to know like a specific brand. All right, I spent here in this example, in this month, 275 dirhams in groceries, but where, which brand? Okay, you can do that. You know that in groceries, here you can see that you can filter out by groceries here. And you can see, okay, mostly or 100% from Carrefour, right? And if you want to see that, okay, for Carrefour, over the last couple of months, how much I spent there. Is it decreasing? Is it increasing? Is it the same? So it's very useful to know this information. I found it very useful for my case to manage and predict my cash flow. And if you want to customize, add your own report, if you have some idea, you can generate that and submit a PR. Many thanks for that in advance. But basically, all you have to do is head over to the documentation. I put everything. But before the customization, if you want, let's say, to disable a certain report, I don't know why, but let's say that. I'm going to disable all of this. I'm going to keep just total income and expenses, just comment them out. And if you go now to the dashboard, you will see just the two activated. All right. Now, how to create a custom report? All right. You need to decide first what type of report you want to generate. Either like just a value, or partition, or trend over the last couple of months or last couple of days, whatever you like. So once you decide that, you create a class in the namespace app GraphQL queries. So let's do that. I'm going to create one just for the sake of example. In app GraphQL queries, and then here I'm going to create one called custom report, just report.php. All right. And here I have to specify, I'm going to steal some code from here. All right, so this is called custom report, and you need to provide this invoke because this will be called by the GraphQL. You don't need to worry about GraphQL for now. All you have to know is that you have to provide which type of this report is. Of course, you can have your own, but please add the UI for that. If you are happy with the existing metrics, you can just choose one of them, value, partition, or trend. In this case, I'm going to just provide like a custom simple value. And I don't need this much here for now. You can build the query according to your logic. But for now, I'm just going to create a return 100, just for the sake of example. Of course, this will be dynamic and generated from the database, but for the time being, it's fine. Now, next step, once you do that, you need to reference it, of course, in the finance configuration. So it's called custom report, and make sure you add the reference to it here. Next, in order to see it now in the dashboard, refresh the dashboard. Of course, it will be there, but it will not work because the data the data source is not set yet. And in order to do that, you have just to add the entry in the GraphQL schema as follow. So you go to GraphQL here in the root schema.graphql, and in the query section you provide the one that you just created, and we call it custom report. It will be in a camel case, so it's the same class name but in a camel case. You can provide the range if you want, but it's optional if you don't like, and for me I'm gonna provide it anyway. And then the return type will be JSON because it's dynamic and the UI component will understand this data. That's all. You just create the class, reference it in the config, reference it in the GraphQL schema, and you're set to go. If now head over to the dashboard and refresh, we should see that it's 100. Of course, it's hard-coded now, but you get the idea. You can customize the query according to your logic. And I'm happy to know about your ideas, what other information or what other reports ideas that you can extract from this data.